Yeah. Sometimes I just sit back and think about it. How you kept me, even when I ain't deserve it. I done been low, lost in my own ways, chasing things that fade, trying to fill empty space. But you stay close, even when I ran, never let me fall out of your hand. And I don't know why you love me like you do, but every time I call you come through. When I was weak, you were strong for me. Open my eyes so I could see. I love the Most High with all my heart and soul. You've been my peace of mind when the world turned cold. I love the Most High more than words can say. Every breath I breathe, I give you praise. Yeah, I love the Most High. They talk about money, they talk of fame, but none of that means nothing when you whisper my name. You gave me grace when I was ashamed, covered my flaws, took away my pain. And every sunrise feel like mercy brand new. That's why my whole life belonged to you. You never left me, even when I strayed. Pull me back gently, show me the way. I love the Most High with all my heart and soul. You've been my anchor when I lost control. I love the Most High, you carried me through. Every blessing I got, it came from you. Oh, I love the Most High. Even when I didn't love myself, you still called me chosen. Even when I felt alone, you were closer than I noticed. You're the reason I'm breathing, the reason I'm healed, the reason I'm standing, the reason it's real. I love the Most High with everything in me. You wrote my story and you set me free. I love the Most High.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Well, here we are, another Shabbat. Boy, what a week. What a week. And, I don't know how many people realize the government is still partially shut down. And today they're supposed to try to work something out. But, it just goes to show you this really is the end. This government can't seem to get anything done, but they're not supposed to. We are in those times. The divisions are deep and things are just not getting done. And we are in a time where so many things are being revealed. When Donald Trump was in his first term, he tried to say he didn't know Jeffrey Epstein. But with the 3 million pages that just came out, Donald Trump was still visiting Epstein Island in his first term. But in front of the press, he said he didn't know who Jeffrey Epstein was. I tell you, there is nothing that's not going to be revealed in these final days. And the Most High is not going to let them run from their lies anymore. Everything is going to be put out there for the world to see. And that's exactly what's going on in this country. You can't have a great country when your leadership is so corrupt. America can never be great. It doesn't matter. You're wearing them old ugly red hats. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is everything is now coming to light. And if you notice, when Donald Trump lies, it's almost like immediately it gets debunked now, you know? All of them. I was even looking at Pam Bondi, some of her testimony. She was sitting there so arrogant, and she is the attorney general, and she's more concerned about protecting Donald Trump than doing the right thing. And all of that was revealed too. She has no interest in serving the public. It's all about serving her master, Donald Trump. So good. Let it all come out. Let it all be revealed, because this place is definitely on its way out. No doubt about it. So, y'all, let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
New year, new you? Begin at loseweightnow.co and make this the year you finally feel in control. With Orderly Meds, access proven GLP-1 tirzepatide starting as low as $149 a month. It's simple, doctor guided, and delivered right to your home so you can finally focus on feeling healthier and more confident. Get started today at loseweightnow.co. Individual results may vary. Visit loseweightnow.co and get started today. That's loseweightnow.co. If you're struggling with weight loss, start your journey at loseweightnow.co, because Orderly Meds helps people get real results with proven GLP-1 semaglutide starting for as little as $74 a month. No waiting rooms, no confusion, just real support and guidance you can count on all year long. Get started today at loseweightnow.co. Individual results may vary. Visit loseweightnow.co and get started today. That's loseweightnow.co.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to another one of our Israelites Gathering Shabbat studies. My name is Yadon Yasharal. I'm with my brother Kased Yasharal. Shabbat Shalom, Mark. How you doing?
Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Yeah, I'm good. I'm always as grateful for another Shabbat as always. It's a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of things going on in our personal lives as well. So, it's always nice to have this reprieve and just focus on the Father and rest.
Praise Yah. Absolutely. And the title of our Shabbat study today is called Salvation Salary, Heaven's Sent. Salvation Salary, Heaven's Sent. And before we get into that, if you haven't already, visit our website at IsraelitesGathering.com. Also, our app is currently being updated. But if you haven't, download our application for Android or for Apple. It's also entitled Israelites Gathering. It's free. A lot of great features on there, including the chat. If you're on, the chat is up as well. We have live chat during the class. And what I want to go over real quick before we get started, we also have the new Holy Days calendar as well. All right, so we're going to go over that. We have the new Holy Days calendar. So we just see the New Year start. So we have Abib, which is March 17th. We have that at night, March 17th, which is Tuesday night. Remember, the new year always starts on the 4th day of the calendar of the regular week. So March 17th. So that would be the first night that is going to be shorter than the day. Because prior to that, you have equal day and equal night. And we're not going to do a calendar class today. But what I did want to show is, how we came to that conclusion. How do we know that March 17th is the start? So, many of our calendar classes, and we'll do one probably in the next couple of weeks, we show you how we calculate the new year and what you have to look for in the winter time going towards the spring. You have to look for the point where you have equal day and equal night. So you should have 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness. That is the equilux. All right. And I know people are used to the term equinox, but equinox is a different celestial event than equal day and equal night. The equinox is when there's a shadow across the equator of the earth. So let's take a look at that real quick. Equinox, this is on timeanddate.com. So equinox, it says almost equal day and equal night. So they're letting you know that it's not equal. Equinox in Latin means equal night, giving the impression that the night and day on the equinox are exactly 12 hours long. And even though this is cosmic wisdom, it isn't entirely accurate. So they're letting you know on the equinox, it is not equal day and equal night. And the equinox typically happens on the 20th of March or the 21st, sometimes even the 19th. It varies, but usually it's the same day every year. Well, on a 364-day calendar, it cannot be the same Babylon calendar day of the year every year for your year start, because they have 365 days, and in every 4 years, 366 days. So with the term that they use, equinox, that cannot be your equal day and equal night every year. It's impossible because it's on the same day, calendar day of the Babylon calendar. All right. So what is the equal day and equal night? All right. So if you scroll down, part of the reason why we can't get equal day and equal night with them is because of how they calculate the sunrise and sunset. It says one of the reasons why most locations on Earth do not enjoy exactly 12 hours of daytime and 12 hours of nighttime on the equinoxes is how sunrise and sunset are defined. So how they define sunrise and sunset is why we can't get an equal day and equal night. Okay. It says if sunrise and sunset were defined as the moment the geometric center of the sun passes the horizon, then the day and night would be exactly 12 hours long. But that's not the case. So they're letting you know how they're calculating. If they would start it at an equal point, which means when the circle of the sun is halfway down or halfway up the horizon, then that would be sunset or sunrise. But they're not calculating. So how are they calculating it? It says sunrise and sunset are defined as the exact moment of the upper edge of the sun's disk touches the eastern and western horizon, respectively. So they're waiting for the entire sun to either rise above the sun, the horizon, or go completely below the horizon. And because of that, they can't calculate equal day and equal night. So what is equal day and equal night? Like I used that term earlier, it's called equilux. What is the equilux? It says twice a year, day and night reach a perfect balance of 12 hours each, creating a little known event called the equilux. See, it's little known because they don't want you to understand how to calculate the calendar. They want the equinox because you get the big shadow and they do all the heathens would do all the sacrifices, and it's worship of the sun, not worship of Yah in the timing that he gave us. All right. So the equilux is drawn from the Latin term for equal light. So the equilux is truly equal day and equal night. So you have to look at where you're located with your longitude and your latitude to figure out what is the equal day and equal night for where you're at. So for us, we understand that pray towards Jerusalem. So of course, everything is for us is going to be pertaining towards Jerusalem when it comes to calendar, when it comes to holy days, things of that nature. So we have to see, well, where is Jerusalem so that we can see the approximate equilux dates. These are the dates when you're going to have equal day and equal night. We know that's the last day of the year in the calendar. All right. So let's see where Jerusalem is. So if we do a good Google search, we see Jerusalem, the coordinates is 31.7 degrees north and 35.22 degrees east. So you're about 31 degrees north. So let's go back. We look for about 31. There's 30 degrees north. It's showing the equilux on March 16th. So the equilux is the point where you have equal day and equal night. But when do our calendar days start? Night. So this is letting you know on March 16th at night, you will have 12 hours of night, right? And then the daytime portion of March 17th, the day is going to grow to 12 hours of day. So if you have 12 hours of night on March 16th, which would be Monday night, and then Tuesday during the day, which would be Tuesday, March 17th, you have 12 hours of daylight. That means when the sun goes down on March 17th, that is your Abib. That's your Hebrew New Year, because that's going to be the first night that is going to be shorter than the day, because the day has sprung forward. So if we look at the calculation here in Jerusalem for 2026, you look down here for March of 2026, right around there, the 16th, look, 11 hours and 59 minutes. The 17th, 12 hours and 1 minute is letting you know that around there is where your new year is starting. So that's how we were able to come to this date here, March 17th at nightfall. So March 17th at night, that is your Hebrew New Year's. That's consistent with the Dead Sea Scrolls, which give you the fourth day of the year as your yearly start every year with a 364-day calendar with 52 weeks of 7-day weeks. The math is perfect. So this is how we're able to calculate and not just use what the world is saying or what the Jewish people do, but this is how we're able to calculate and how we're able to comfortably know this is the start of the new year, because the day has sprung longer than the night. So praise Yah. With all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the class. Again, the title of the Shabbat study today is called Salvation Salary, Heaven Sent. And what we're going to discuss today is, we have in this earth, we got two different types of economies going on. You got one economy, which is the world economy. We know who sits on top of that: the adversary, the devil, the prince of this air. And there's rules to that economy, with capitalism being the ruling faction of that economy. So in capitalism and in the worldly economy, we're taught to hoard. We're taught to amass as much goods, try to negotiate the highest amount of pay, to block others from getting money so we can get more money. Covetousness, greed. That's what the world economy breeds. But with the heavenly economy, the spiritual economy, it's different. With the spiritual economy, it's not about you can't buy your way into the kingdom. You can't show up with a credit card. You can't say I made the most money or I'm the most successful in my industry and get into the kingdom. It costs a penny to get into the kingdom. And everybody that works has to have a penny, nothing more, nothing less. That's a different type of economy. That's a different type of rules. And most of us, as we grew up here, we weren't taught, how to be business owners and how to navigate this economic system. In fact, nowadays, they don't even teach economics in school. But with this spiritual economy, with us being the kings and queens, the highest on the totem pole, we were given the perfect and most direct instructions how to be wealthy in the salvation economy. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start the class. This is an open forum. So if anybody has questions or comments, by all means, you can chime in as long as it's decently in order. And big Shabbat Shalom to my brother Yafi Yehuda. Good to see you, family. Shalom, shalom to my bro Dre Day. As always, big Shabbat Shalom to my brother Anron Hicks. And shalom, sis Sharita. Good to see you all. So we're going to open up. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I just wanted to add real quick to the points you just made in the intro. Just, the point about the two economies is that, like you were saying, we weren't taught certain things either spiritually or even about this world. And when it comes to the two economies, when you look at this worldly economy and you look at the people who are at the top of this worldly economy, which, I mean, we saw those files just come out and we see the kind of things that are going on with the people that sit at the top of this world. And they kind of have us in this rat race, and they kind of they encourage this mindset that that's where you want to be. You want to be rich. You want to have unlimited resources. You want to be these kinds of people when in reality, that's not real life at all. And you see the kinds of people that are living these lives. You see the kinds of evil that they are tapped into and the kind of wickedness. Because, I mean, let's be real. These people could, if they had any righteousness, they could end world hunger. They could do so many good things in the world, but yet they're throwing parties and living crazy demonic lifestyles that benefit no one but them. It doesn't even benefit themselves, because these demons that are using these people, I mean, these demons that are using these people are, they're the ones who are benefiting because they already know they have an end. Right. And they just want to drag everybody else to that end. And so they have us focused on all these things when we look at the spiritual economy. Well, let me say it like this way. When you look at that, it should make you wonder, okay, if that's the end of going down this worldly route, if that's the end of driving myself crazy, trying to, thinking that I need to be rich or I need to be living some kind of lavish lifestyle, if that's the end of that, then what should I be focusing on? What else should I be focusing on? Because, I mean, when you look at the music videos, you look at everything, it's all pointing in that worldly direction of, oh, you need to get women, or I guess if you're a woman, you need to have a stable of people that you can abuse and use, right. And you need to have endless money, and they just promote this whole lifestyle, and we're all born into this world thinking that that's the lifestyle that we need to have, and thinking that that's what we need to desire. So it should make you wonder, when you see the end of that, what should I actually be desiring? What is actually going to benefit me and the world at the same time?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, and that's what we're going to cover today as well, because just because finance and riches and jewels and the treasures of the earth is not the priority doesn't mean that the Most High is going to slack us from receiving, the riches of this earth as well as the next world. So we're going to get into all that. But like you said, nobody taught us, but it's right here in the word, the instructions and how we can live life and live life more abundantly. So let's open up in Shema. Let's get right into Torah. Let's go to Exodus chapter 19. I just want to read a few verses here. Exodus, Shema, chapter 19, and we're going to read 1 through 8. And this is an open forum, so you can ask questions on the app, the chat that we have, the chat room, or on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll try to get to your comments. All right, give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and pull up the scripts.
You know, also on that same point, I mean, you can look at Abraham. Abraham had riches, but he was also someone that Yah considered a friend. You know, so there's a big difference there.
Right. You know, he didn't say to be in a poverty mindset. You know, but the devil has us convinced that, you know, it's one or the other. We have to either be filthy rich or we just got to be some pauper in the street. So we're going to open up Exodus, Shemot, chapter 19, and we're just going to read 1 through 8.
All right, Exodus, Shemot, chapter 19, and verse 1. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Mizraim, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim and were come and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Yasharal camped before the mount. And Moshe went up unto Elohim, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shall you say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Yasharal, You have seen what I did unto the Mizrites or the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then shall you be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine.
All right, so he showed you his power. He freed you. He made you a free agent. He freed you out of your bondage. And he said, look, if you will be mine, and you're going to have to be keep my covenant, obey my voice, then you'll be a peculiar treasure, because everything is mine, but you're going to be set apart with everything that's here on this earth. But you're going to have to follow my instructions. Go ahead.
Verse 6, And you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. These are the words which you shall speak unto the children of Yasharal.
So by following my instructions, by belonging to me, you're going to become royalty. You're going to be a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. Your entire nation will be holy. All right.
Verse 7, And Moshe came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before their faces all these words which Yahweh commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, All that Yahweh has spoken, we will do. And Moshe returned the words of the people unto Yahweh.
All right. So this is a contract. So we accepted the position. What position did we accept? We accepted the position that the Father gave us. And he told us, you know, and see, this is the thing, you know, we hearing about, yeah, we're going to be kings and we're going to be a holy, and we're going to be above all the people and a peculiar treasure. We accepted it. Yay. Yeah, we want that check. Just like when somebody tell you, how much does it pay? Well, it pays $2,500 a week. What? I'll take it. Well, what you going to be doing? In this economy, we'll do whatever it takes. We do it right now. You pay us enough money, we'll do it. So this was already in us. So when the Most High is saying, look, I'm going to give you all these great benefits, we weren't even asking. We're going to do it. We accepted it. All right, so let's go to Matthew chapter 22, Matthew chapter 22. We took the payment before doing the work and said, yeah, we do it. We didn't even hear the rules. We got it. Yes, we want the benefit. Matthew chapter 22, we're going to read 15 through 22.
All right, Matthew 22 and verse 15. Then went the Pharisees and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. And they sent out unto him their disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know that you are true, and teach us the way of Elohim in truth. Neither carest you for any man, for you regard not the person of men. Tell us therefore, what thinkest you? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? But Yahushua perceived their wickedness and said, Why tempt you me, you hypocrites? Show me the tribute money. And they brought unto him a penny. And he said unto them, Whose is this image and superscription? And they say unto him, Caesar's. Then said he unto them, Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto Yahweh the things that are Yahweh's. When they had heard these words, they marveled and left him and went their way.
All right, so we accepted a position. We're going to stop right there, brother. We accepted a position, and with the position comes pay. And with pay comes responsibilities, things that we have to do. So now Mashiach is telling you here, look, render unto Caesar the things that belong to Caesar. The things of this world belong unto the world. You got to work. You got to get some kind of income. You got to fight, or you got to go out and hunt. You got to do something to feed yourself and clothe yourself. And that in this world right now takes money or resources, one or the other. So those things in his system belong to him. So we can't be hoarding the things of this world because that belongs to him. That's his system. You know, the dollar bill and all that's not real. So do we need to use it? Yes, we need to use it. We need to, it's the form of trade right now. And do we need the more of it? Help? Yes, silver is a great defense, but wisdom is a better defense. So yes, you still need to get it. And if you had a little bit more than what you needed, that's a good thing and a bad thing. All right, so let's move on. Let's go to Yeshayah, Isaiah chapter 41. It's a bad thing when it comes to that parable, which we're not going to read today, but it talks about the parable of the man in the barn. When the man had the barn, he had so much abundance. He said, I'll build another barn, a bigger barn to hold my stuff. And Yah showed and said, that night your life was required of you because you thought that the overabundance was for you to just have more stuff. And this is the pitfalls that the rich fall in because they believe, according to this system, all their money and all their wealth is for them because they're self-made, right? I went and got it, or I won it, or I this, that, and the other. But that's not in the spiritual economy. That's not how that works. That's this economy, which is going to die out when this age dies out. So in Yah's economy, in the spiritual economy, what's required of you and who are you in that economy? So again, we accepted it, right? So here's the confirmation. Yeshayah chapter 41, we're going to read 7 through 20.
Okay. Yeshayah chapter 41 and verse 7. So the carpenter encouraged the goldsmith, and he that smooths with the hammer with the smote, he that smooths with the hammer, him that smote the anvil, saying, It is ready for the soldering. And he fastened it with nails that it should not be moved.
That's their trade. The goldsmith, he molds gold, right? And then the carpenter, smoothens with the hammer, because they got to first carve out the wooden piece first, then inlay it with gold. So this is what they do. That's their job. Verse 8.
But you, Yasharal, are my servant, Yaakov, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend.
So you, Yasharal, are different. Although you might also be a goldsmith or you might be a carpenter, because remember, Mashiach was a carpenter. Yosef was a carpenter. But at the end of the day, you are Yah's servant above everything else. So that is your number one priority, is serving Yah. Because that's what makes you a friend of Yah, like Abraham was. He's called Abraham his friend because Abraham believed and Abraham did what Yah told him to do.
Verse 9. You whom I've taken from the ends of the earth and called you from the chief of men thereof and said unto you, you are my servant. I've chosen you and not cast you away. Fear you not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your Elohim. I will strengthen you. Yea, I will help you. Yea, I will uphold you with the right hand of my righteousness. Behold, all they that were incensed against you shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with you shall perish.
This is the payment. All they that were incensed against you shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, like as if they never even existed. And anyone that strives against you shall perish. That's the payment when you work for the Most High. You can't buy that with all the money in the world. Bill Gates can't afford that. The Rockefellers can't afford that. And even if somebody offered to pay that for you, it wouldn't last. Because their power, the devil's power, is not going to last. So the only way you won't receive this is if you get fired from your job. Read that to verse 20.
All right, verse 10. Verse 11. Behold, all they that were incensed against you shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with you shall perish. You shall seek them and shall not find them, even them that contended with you. They that war against you shall be as nothing, and as a thing of naught.
So we work for the Creator. So you're telling me if you're working for the Creator, doing his job, what he created you to do, and you think anybody can interfere with you? You think they can stop your production? You think they have the power? Who do they work for? They work for somebody above Yah that has more power, more control? But see, when you don't know who you're working for, you can be told anything. If you just show up at a job and somebody just start telling you what to do on your first day, you don't know who you work for. You haven't met everybody. So anybody can tell you. The janitor can tell you, yeah, you're supposed to be cleaning toilets. But not you. You know who you work for. And this is on the job instruction and the manual telling you, listen, anybody, just like American contractors, right? When they go overseas to go drill oil or whatever, they protected by the military because they working for the government. Well, you working for the highest government, and anybody that strives against you while you doing his work is going to perish. Verse 13.
When Hamashiach was tempted by Satan, that's a perfect example of him knowing who he worked for.
Right.
Satan tried to tempt him, tried to come against him with all this stuff, but Hamashiach knew who he worked for, and he knows his power, and he knows there's nothing higher than Yah. So it's like, there's nothing you can offer me. There's no way you can tempt me. There's nothing you can do to get me to move off my square, because I know who I work for, and I know his power, and I know that everything is under his control. So I'd be a fool to let that go to try to get something from you when my father already owns everything.
Right. Absolutely. 13?
Isaiah chapter 41 and verse 13. For I, Yahweh, your Elohim, will hold your right hand, saying unto you, fear not, I will help you. Fear not, you warm Yaakov, and you men of Yasharal. I will help you, says Yahweh, and your Redeemer, the Holy One of Yasharal. Behold, I will make you a new sharp threshing instrument, having teeth. You shall thresh the mountains and beat them small, and shall make the hills as chaff. You shall fan them, and the wind shall carry them away, and the whirlwind shall scatter them. And you shall rejoice in Yahweh, and shall glory in the Holy One of Yasharal. When the poor and needy seek water, and there is none, and their tongue fails for thirst, I, Yahweh, will hear them. I, the Elohim of Yasharal, will not forsake them. I will open rivers in high places and fountains in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water and the dry land springs of water.
So this is your brand. Your father, when the poor and needy seek water, there he is. When they fail for thirst, Yah hears them. Mercy, grace, philanthropy. This is your the brand of the job that you work for. This is how you're supposed to conduct yourself. People are expecting that from you.
Verse 19, I will plant in the wilderness the cedar, the shittah tree, and the myrtle, and the oil tree. I will set in the desert the fir tree, and the pine, and the box tree together, that they might see and know and consider and understand together that the hand of Yahweh has done this, and the Holy One of Yasharal has created it.
Hallelujah. So let's move on. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20. Now let's see the terms of our employment. Shema, because we just took it. We heard about that payment. Anybody come against us, they gonna get perished. Yeah, we'll take it. We're gonna be the kings and queens, a peculiar people, high above everybody on. Yeah, we'll take it. But there comes terms of employment when you take a job. Shema, Exodus chapter 20. I just want to read 1 through 11 here.
All right, Shema chapter 20 and verse 1. And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh, your Elohim, which have brought you out of the land of Mizraim, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other mighty ones before me.
I paid the price. I freed you. I got you released from your contract so you can come work for me. And if you work for me, you can't work for nobody else. You can't give nobody priority over me. Go ahead.
You shall not make unto you any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
All right, so this is my logo. This is what my logo looks like. It's righteousness. Just like how Prince, back in the day, because of his record label and all that, he created a sign to represent him instead of his name because they was, taking his money with his masters and all that. Well, the Most High operated very similarly, said, look, this is my logo. It's righteousness. It's not an animal. It's not a picture. It's not a name. My representation is righteousness. This is what my logo is. So he's saying you can't put no other logos. You can't do things. You can't put that around. You can't create things because you represent me. You work for me. Because if you're creating these things, it's like you gonna make a Dodge symbol and you work for Toyota. Then that's implying like, well, you work for Dodge or you support Dodge. We can understand simple things like that.
Even looking at verse 3 about having no other mighty ones before him, like even when it comes to business, we understand like what a non-compete clause is and all that.
Right.
Verse 5, you shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahweh, your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and the fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of Yahweh your Elohim in vain, for Yahweh will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain.
You should not make Yah's character and his name and his appellation vanity. It doesn't last long. It doesn't mean anything. It's worthless. You work for him. That's like, what you think about McDonald's and you're a McDonald's manager. Oh man, them Happy Meals suck. Them fries, man, you see what they put in them fries? You eating that, you finna get fired. How you gonna work for McDonald's and you talking crap about McDonald's? Or you looking sloppy and looking dirty and dingy, looking like you on drugs, serving somebody to McDonald's? You're gonna get fired. Well, the Most High says you, through you, your actions is how you blaspheme my name. Through your actions, because you're named after me.
Verse 8, remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Shabbat of Yahweh your Elohim. In it you shall not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Shabbat day and hallowed it.
Hallelujah. So here you have some of your terms for employment, and you see he's ending on the 4th commandment with the Shabbat. And he's saying, look here, this is our schedule. Just like Chick-fil-A say we not open on Sundays. Well, Yah say we not open on Shabbat. The 7th day we are closed. And see, this is the part where a lot of Seventh-day Adventists and Israelites that don't have proper teaching, they don't understand how to keep the Shabbat. This is an Exodus. It's telling you right here, you shall not do any work. Verse 10, you shall not do any work. You, nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, your maidservant, not even your animal. You can't even put your dog out to go work, nor stranger that's within your gates. So this is why we don't go spend money on the Shabbat. If I go pay somebody, I have to pay a shopkeeper, a cashier who's getting paid to work, who should be honoring Yah and resting on this day, regardless of what his financial status is. But we're causing them to work because if they don't work, we can't spend the money. But we're going to say, nah, I ain't going to work. So you're going to oppress the stranger. You're going to oppress a baby. You're going to cause a little one to stumble. You a little one, you don't even know you're supposed to be keeping the Shabbat. You ain't even born yet. So this is why we don't work on the Shabbat. We don't sell on the Shabbat. We don't cause people to work. We don't cause strangers to work and say, well, I'm Israelite. They can work, but I ain't going to work. You do the best that you can to understand and honor that rest period. All right, so let's move on. Let's go to Matthew chapter 20. So Yah gives us our schedule. You don't decide your schedule. Yah gives you a schedule and says, this is the days that you work. You off on this day, you work on this day. You don't work for yourself. You work for Yah. So now we get into payment. Matthew chapter 20, we're going to read 1 through 16. Because the workman is due his hire.
Matthew chapter 20 and verse 1. For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard.
So he agreed. He didn't force it on anybody. See, slavery, they just forced it on him. We have a choice. You want to live, then you work. The jobs that we have, we're forced to take these jobs. What else we going to do? Go ahead.
Verse 3. And he went out about the 3rd hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and said unto them, go you also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. And they went their way. Again he went out about the 6th and 9th hour, and did likewise. And about the 11th hour he went out, and found others standing idle, and said unto them, why stand you here all the day idle? They said unto him, because no man has hired us. He said unto them, go you also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that shall you receive. So when even was come, the owner of the vineyard said unto his steward, call the laborers and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first. And when they came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. But when the first came, they supposed that they should have received more, and they likewise received every man a penny.
All right, so they all agreed, depending on whether they came early, 9 o'clock in the morning, noon, all the way to 5 p.m. If you agreed, they agreed to a penny. And when it came time for payment at the end of the day, they all lined up and they paid the last first. So the people that came the 11th hour, they got paid first. And they saw the people getting paid and they all got a penny. So now you got the people that was here first. They came and they also got a penny. So why are you worried about what somebody else got when you got what you agreed upon? But see, that's how this economy works. In this economy, you feel like you should get more than somebody else and you concerned with what somebody else. Why don't you be concerned with what you need? Why are you worried about what the other person has if it's not worrying about if they have enough? If you're worried about if somebody has enough, then you'll be kind and share. But if you're worried about them having too much, that's covetousness. That's envy. That's greed. And that's what this economy breeds. But in Yah's spiritual economy, look how he's doing. He's paying the last first and the first last. And he's paying everybody the same payment, a penny. And that's what you need to get into that kingdom, a penny.
This really does highlight that worldly mindset of covetousness and feeling like you need to be making more than so-and-so, and that whole competitive capitalistic mindset of I have to be doing more than others, or if others are doing better than me, then I'm not going to receive. And that's a very immature but also understandable mindset when you're thinking in terms of the world.
Right.
But when you're thinking in terms of Yah, and when you realize, like we said earlier, who do you actually work for? When you realize that you're working for the creator of everything, then you know that you're getting exactly what you need, and there's no need to be covetous or anything, because you know what your brother, basically that Yah is righteous, and that anything that you do have from him, then you've earned it, or you deserve, well, not even earned it, but he's found just for you to have, essentially. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
And
right.
You also know that, well, you don't fear lacking because you know your father owns everything. So it's like you really don't lack anything when you look at it from a spiritual standpoint. And furthermore, you should be happy that your brother is working for the same creator that you're working for the same Yah, for the same Elohim that you're working for.
Right.
You can look at that as a blessing. Like, I'm glad we're working together. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And doing his will, doing his service. But that's when you look at things from a more spiritual perspective. So I just wanted to bring that up.
That's some great points, brother. And we've learned, many of us learned that we think sometimes that, especially coming in the word, that we're on the same team because we got the same uniform on. We got the same name. We're same company. We're the same team. Then you realize, no, some people on their own team. They not on Yah's team. They on their own team. So just because they wear the same uniform or got the same last name or whatever, that don't mean they on the same team you are. Because if you were on the same team, then you would realize, just like in a real game, you realize, look, if you scored, that means we scored. We won. You ain't mad because he about to score a touchdown. You happy because we're winning. But you don't know what team you're on, or you're on your own team. We've seen the results of that. All right, where we at? Verse 11?
Yep. All right, Matthew chapter 20 and verse 11. And when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house, saying, these last have wrought for 1 hour, and you have made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden in the heat of the day. But he answered one of them and said, friend, I do you no wrong. Did not you agree with me for a penny?
Did you not agree to keep these commandments? And in so for keeping the commandments, you was going to get this reward? So why are you worried about what somebody else is getting? Did I lie to you? Did I tell you was going to get more or less? Or so because you think how you think you should have control over my money, over control over what I have power over, because you think that? So that's an employer. Try a creator, try the Most High. It don't make no sense to do that to Mr. Smith or Mr. Johnson or Mr. Walmart or Mr. whoever. It don't make no sense. But try applying that to the Most High. It stupidly makes no sense. But that's what we do.
Verse 14. Take that yours is and go your way. I will give unto this last, even as unto you. Is it not lawful for me to do what I will with my own? Is your eye evil because I am good? So the last shall be first, and the first last. For many be called, but few chosen.
Praise Yah. So many were called to this job. We servants. He didn't say, Yadon Yasharal, Kased Yasharal, you are my son. He didn't say that. He said, Yasharal, the family, the 12 tribes, you are my servant. He didn't say Levites. He said, you are kingdom of priests. So this is our job. This is our calling. And who's paying you? The Walmart? The Mr. Johnson, the guy who signs your check, is he paying you or is Yah paying you? Yes, you need earthly money. You need a credit card. You need a bank. You need those things to operate inside of this system if you're inside of this system. But at the end of the day, Yah is who's feeding you. So if you understand that, Mr. Smith, Mr. Johnson, whoever signed your check can't make you prioritize him over Yah when Yah is who's feeding you. Let's move on. Let's go to Leviticus, Wayakra chapter 23, and we're going to look at Yah's rest days. We are workers, servants. We have to work, but he gave us days that we're supposed to rest. So we see one of them, the Sabbath. And you have the Sabbathons, which are treated like Sabbath, even though they're not the Sabbath day, where you're not supposed to work. You work for the Most High, that means you off on those days. All right, let's start this at verse 1. We're going to kind of skip around a little bit. I just want to get to the points. Let's start in verse 1.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Yasharal, and say unto them concerning the feast of Yahweh, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts.
All right, so let's break that down real quick. Let's go into the Hebrew. All right, so first of all, he says, speaking to the children of Yasharal. So we, the servants, this is our schedule. This is what we're supposed to do. Say unto them concerning the feasts, and that word feast is taken out of context. The Hebrew word there is moade. That is an appointment. That is a fixed time, season, or festival. So these are my appointed times of Yahweh. So these are the times that I am appointing. That means you need to mark these days, and he's going to tell you what you're supposed to do on those days if you work for Yahweh. All right, he said, you shall proclaim to be set apart convocations. Convocation is where we have a public meeting, where we rehearse, we assemble, we read a mikra. And these are my set apart days. So he's letting you know off rip from the beginning. Here's the schedule. Verse 3.
"6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Shabbat of rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is the Shabbat of Yahweh in all your dwellings."
All right, so that's Sabbath. All right, so let's take a look at that Hebrew. All right, 6 days shall work be done. So does that mean you only work 6 days out the month? No. 6 days out the week you can work. And on the seventh day, the Sabbath is every seventh day. It's not based on a moon or on a specific point. So this seventh day is a Shabbat. So let's look at that word Shabbat. Shabbat 876:76. Intermission, that is specifically the Shabbat. Every Shabbat. Shabbat, to cease, to repose, to desist, to cease. All right, so that's what the Sabbath means. And it says the seventh day is the Sabbath. So that lets you, that's why we call it the Sabbath day. And it's a Sabbath of what? Of rest. Look at that word for rest. Sabbathon. It's a Sabbath, a day of rest of a holiday. Sabbatism, a special holiday, a rest, Shabbat. So it's letting you know that when you have a Sabbath every seventh day, you're supposed to rest. And when they use that word Sabbathon, that means rest. So why is that significant? Let's keep going.
Verse 4. These are the Moedim of Yahweh, even holy convocations, which you shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month, at even, is Yahweh's Passover.
All right, so this is a holy day. This is Yahweh's Passover. But he's not instructing us that we have to rest on that day. It's not a Sabbathon. It's a holy day. It's an appointed day because he just appointed the 14th day in between evenings is Pesach. So it is Moadeh, but it's not a Sabbathon. Verse 6.
And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto Yahweh. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. In the first day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein.
So rest, no servile work. So that's a rest day. So that's letting you know the first day, which is the 15th of Abib, is a Sabbathon. It's treated like a Sabbath, but it's not on the seventh day of the week. Yah's holy days will never fall on the seventh day of the week. The seventh day of the week is completely set apart. That's why no holy day, Sabbathon, is going to fall exactly on the Shabbat. Go ahead.
Verse 8. But you shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh 7 days. And the seventh day is a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein.
There it is again. The 15th day and the 21st day of Abib are Sabbathons. You can't work. No servile work. Remember, the rest is Sabbathon. And the day of rest is the Sabbath. But these specific days, which fall on different days, which will be on a Tuesday night and a Monday night, starting these days, are treated like Sabbaths, where we're off for unleavened bread. We're off on a Wednesday, just off in the middle of the week, Wednesday. And then on the 21st day of Abib, we're off on a Monday. We're off on Tuesday, just randomly off on Tuesday during the daytime. These are set apart days. Now, when we go down to first fruits right here, we're not going to read through it, but it's also a very important Moedim, but it's not deemed a Sabbathon. Now we go down to the next first fruit offering, Feast of Weeks. Start at verse 15.
All right. Verse 15. And you shall count unto you from the morrow after the Shabbat, from the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Shabbats shall be complete. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Shabbat shall you number 50 days, and you shall offer a new meat offering unto Yahweh.
All right, drop down to verse 21.
And you shall proclaim on the selfsame day that it may be a holy convocation unto you. You shall do no servile work therein. It shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations.
All right, so Pentecost, there you have it again. Feast of Weeks, they're telling you it's a rest day. This falls, everybody know what day does Pentecost fall on? Even the Christians know what day Pentecost falls on. Sunday. It's called Pentecost Sunday. Even the Christians keep Pentecost on Sunday. That's not a Sabbath. But it says you will have a holy convocation. You should do no servile work. So if you work for Yah, I don't care if you work for Mr. Robinson or Mr. Walmart or whoever. We off that day. If we have the power to be off that day, we're off that day. All right. And then you go down to Feast of Trumpets. Same thing. You shall have a Shabbat, a memorial blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation, a Sabbathon. Then Day of Atonement. Same thing, a holy convocation unto you shall afflict your souls. No work. Then you go all the way down to Feast of Booths, Tabernacles, same thing. On the first day, holy convocation, no servile work. Then on the 8th day, same thing, no servile work. All right, so let's move on. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 26, Devarim chapter 26. So that's the difference with this earthly economy. Is like work as much as you can work. Put in overtime. We're going to pay you more if you work overtime. Not with Yah. He's not paying you more for overtime. You getting that same payment. And he's expecting you to work overtime. Just not on his Shabbat. He's expecting you to do the work that you need to do. So we're at Devarim, Deuteronomy chapter 26. We're going to read 8 through 19, and we're going to look at not only when you work and you get income for working, a portion of that income has to go back to Yah. Just like you go to the employer and Uncle Sam take his money right back. Well, you got to pay too, but it's supposed to go to somebody else instead of going to the government. So Deuteronomy chapter 26, let's read 8 through 19.
All right, Deuteronomy chapter 26 and verse 8. And Yahweh brought us forth out of Mizraim with a mighty hand, and with an outstretched arm, and with great terribleness, and with signs and with wonders. And he has brought us into this place, and has given us this land, even a land that flows with milk and honey. And now behold, I brought the first fruits of the land, which you, O Yahweh, have given me. And you shall set it before Yahweh your Elohim, and worship before Yahweh your Elohim.
All right, so
And
you look at nurses. When nurses get jobs, a lot of times, before they get their practitioner degrees or advanced degrees, companies will pay for them. They'll pay for your schooling. I'm gonna buy you. I'm gonna pay for you to go to school, so that when you get out, I get the first fruits. It come to me. I'm the one that paid for your schooling. I took care of you. I gave you the internship. So it's common sense that first fruits goes to them. Well, with Yahweh, it's the same thing. He gave us everything, brought us up out of the place, freed us from the last oppressor that we was under. So he expects the first fruits. Let's look at that word real quick. Reshith, the first, the beginning, the best, the chiefest. So it's not only just the first thing that you get, but the best of what you have. That's how this economy works with the spiritual economy. Your best goes to Yah. In this worldly economy, the best you try to hide it and the government still rest. Different. This is different. You got to trust Yah that by giving him your best, you're going to receive that payment that he promised that he was going to give you.
Verse 11. And you shall rejoice in every good thing that which Yahweh your Elohim has given unto you and unto your house, you and the Levite and the stranger that is among you. When you have made an end to the tithing and all the tithes of your increase the third year, which is the year of tithing, and have given it unto the Levite, the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, that they may eat within your gates and be filled.
All right, let's stop right there. So let's look at that one verse. All right, yes, tithing is still in effect. It's law. He said not one law, one jot or tittle is going to fall for the law. But let's understand what tithing is. We've been manipulated. All right, so if you look at that word tithes, it is ma'asar, or mazra, right? And that's a tenth. It's a tenth. So tithe is literally a tenth. So we're supposed to give the first fruits of our income, whatever we develop, whatever we produce, we give first fruits unto Yah. And then a tenth of what we have is a tithe. And what are we taught? Oh, go give it to the pastor so you can go buy a Lamborghini and a Bentley, right? But it's showing you where this tithe is going to. The Levite. The Levite didn't have a job. He didn't get an inheritance. He stayed in suburbs outside the city. He didn't get the land to go plant vineyards and do all that. He was serving the Most High. The stranger, right? The fatherless, the widow. This is where your tithes go. So again, we don't have, most of us don't have, since we're not in Israel, we didn't get our inheritance. So we make money in this system. So a tenth of our money is supposed to belong to the fatherless, the widows, the strangers, and the Levite. Now, we don't know who the Levite is per se, but we'll just clump that into the Israelite, the priest. So that's where it's supposed to go. So that means if you make $10 a week, $1 is supposed to be available when you see an opportunity to do righteousness. I see a fatherless kid, he needs help. I see a widow, she's struggling to pay her bills. I see a stranger that's just, he can't get a job. He's running from ICE. You're supposed to help these people. All right, let's stop right there. Let's move on. Let's go to Marcus chapter 12. Mark chapter 12. And we didn't read it, but in Leviticus chapter 23, it talks about you shall not reap the corners of your field. You're supposed to leave it open so that the poor and the hungry and the fatherless could eat without having to try to steal. So again, we don't have the big acres of property with fruit trees and stuff that we can feed people. Most of us don't. But your corner of your field is supposed to be available. That means when you're out in public and the homeless or the stranger or the poor or the needy or the father, the little kids running up with bottles of water, you're supposed to have a tenth of your money available to help take care of them. That's Yah's system when you work for him. That's how his economy operates. So that you won't have to steal or you won't have to feel left out. Marcus chapter 12.
No, I just want to say, comment that, compare the way Yah does things to the way that things are being done in the world. Like you can look at how many restaurants and grocery stores just waste and throw out so much food on a daily basis that could be going to people that actually need it.
Right. They say they make it illegal. Talking about, oh, you can get sued if they get sick from me. You get sued for anything. You're in a business. So you tell them you're not going to do righteousness because you might get sued? That's not why. That's the excuse. They don't want to do that because guess what? If somebody donated some money, they could take the money that was donated and go buy food from them so they could get money. But if nobody's going to donate money to somebody to buy food that's hungry, if the place is giving away free food. So it's all about their money. So we're reading Marcus chapter 12. We're going to read 41 through 44.
All right, Marcus chapter 12 and verse 41. And Yahushua set over against the treasury and beheld how the people cast money into the treasury, and many that were rich cast in much. And there came a certain poor widow, and she threw in 2 mites, which make a farthing. And he called unto him his disciples and said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that this poor widow has cast more in than all they which have cast into the treasury. For all they did cast in out of their abundance, but she of her want did cast in all that she had, even all her living.
Right, right. So now let's take a look at that. There's a lot going on here. First of all, she's poor. That's number one. And she's a widow.
So are we continuing to 13?
Oh, Salakia, I had that on mute. I'm sitting here talking. So let's look at a few things going on here. For one, she's poor and she's a widow. So look what that represents. You know, when you're married, then you have your husband, you know, he has his wealth and you have half of everything that he has. So that represents one, right? You take those one, you split it in two, that's two. So with these 2 mites, she has what her husband had, and she got half of that. So 1 mite was his, the other mite is hers. All she has is 2 mites. She's casting in both, giving everything that she had. So it's not enough to just say, hey, my husband has this, we good. He gonna give all that he has. No, he has to give what he has, and you have to give what you have too. So it's not just the husband working, it's a husband and a wife. And that wife had 2 mites. She had gave everything that she had. That means she put in her effort too. It wasn't just, well, this is the work my husband did, and I'm doing this. No, she gave everything that she had, and that was accepted. Whereas somebody might have more and say, well, you know, she only gave 2 mites. I gave $50. You're a millionaire. It's not the same. So in this system, he wants all that you have, just like the overtime. I need all that overtime. You're not getting more. And we've got a comment here. Shabbat Shalom, Sis Ariel. And we got another perspective here. Say, could it also mean in faith? Like the people in the truth longer should be in a higher position than the folks that just came into the truth? Absolutely, sis. That's another sliver right there. People want more. They feel like they should have higher ranks because you've been in it long. So somebody got to be up under you because you this, or this person is older. So they're supposed to have more spirit than you, or they can't know. We don't listen to them. Absolutely. But what he's doing, he said, you have to be like these little ones in order to enter in the kingdom. The little one can learn. So that's absolutely a great perspective. So let's move on. Let's go to Marcus chapter 10. Marcus chapter 10. Let's go back 2 chapters. And we're going to read verses 17 through 31.
All right, Mark chapter 10 and verse 17. And when he was gone forth into the way, there came one running and kneeled to him and asked him, Good master, what shall I do that I may inherit the eternal life? And Yahushua said unto him, Why callest you me good? There's none good, but one, that is Elohim.
So why would you ask him that? You just think about this. Why are you going to ask Mashiach what you got to do to inherit eternal life? Didn't Yah give you a whole book telling you exactly how to inherit it? Why he would ask that question? Do you not read? When you got an abundance of money, when you meet people, it's how much can I buy you for? When you meet women, you meet men or whatever, how much does it cost? Because that's what you're used to. Whatever problem, whatever you want, I just pay for it. So it's almost like he's asking, how much does it cost me to inherit eternal life? Tamshi?
Verse 19. You know the commandments: do not commit adultery, do not kill, do not steal, do not bear false witness, defraud not, honor your father and mother. And he answered and said unto him, Master, all these have I observed from my youth.
So again, all this I've been doing since I'm a child. What else? What else you asking for? How much do I need to donate? What check do I got to write so that you can guarantee me salvation? That's what this economy does to you.
Then Yahushua, beholding him, loved him, and said unto him, One thing you lack. Go your way, sell whatsoever you have, and give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven. And come, take up your stake and follow me. And he was sad at that saying, and went away grieved, for he had great possessions.
He had valued the possessions more. He was hoping that I was willing to write a check and make a nice donation, but I mean, everything. Listen, if Mashiach show up in your life and tell you to sell everything and follow him, you better follow him. He's not showing up in everybody. He didn't show up to everybody, but he showed up to this young man. So whatever that calling is, the Most High sent his son to come show up in your life and tell you this is the payment. You better be prepared to pay. But if you holding on to these possessions, you value that more than your salvation. You value this economy, and this ain't gonna last. Because when you die, you can't take it with you. Verse 23.
And Yahushua looked round about and said unto his disciples, How hardly shall they that have riches enter into the kingdom of Elohim? And the disciples were astonished at his words. But Yahushua answered again and said unto them, Children, how hard is it for them that trust in riches to enter into the kingdom of Elohim?
All right, so he's being more specific. It's hard for the rich to enter into the kingdom of Elohim. First, you got to understand what the kingdom of Elohim is. Elohim is everywhere. All right, the kingdom of heaven is in heaven. So you're not going to enter into the mind state, become one part of the body of Mashiach with a mind that is focused on riches. When your trust is in your money, I can buy good insurance, get a good doctor. I can buy good security. I can buy a safe house. I can go live in a nice neighborhood. I can put away some money in the bank in case things go bad. I don't have to focus on repenting from my sins because I trust in my riches. So those riches, unless Yah chasten you and you accept the chastening, is going to cause you to not enter in the kingdom. Because you think you're righteous because your bottom line is good.
You know, another thing about riches is that one of the reasons why we hear about so many scandals and crazy things going on with people that are rich and famous and whatnot is because when you have riches, that opens up your opportunities. And when you have all those opportunities in front of you, that's a hard thing to come up against because there's no guarantee that you're not going to give in to sin and all the sinful opportunities you'll have just by having money.
Right.
And I mean, you see that with all the stuff that's coming out in the news now. You see these people who have chosen very dark paths and have corrupted themselves. And so, yeah, there's no guarantee that you won't fall into sin. I mean, we just as ordinary people are dealing with choices on just a mundane level to not sin. You know what I'm saying? And just imagine the world that you'll be opened up into. You can't even imagine it really if you have unlimited resources and funds. It's actually quite scary. Right. And so I can definitely understand where Mashiach is coming from, where he says how hardly it is. And I can also understand why he loved that dude, because you could see someone who's just tied to something that they think is solid and dependable, right, but really is, is really just a vapor,
Right. Right.
Does
Absolutely.
that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, it's just I had it on mute again. I'm sorry. I'm here
It's all
commenting.
good.
I'm here sniffling in the background, trying to keep the noise out. But yeah, absolutely, man. And it's just sad, you know, that the rich find that out, you know, in the end, when they realize that, look, all these riches meant nothing. It can't save me. It can't help me, you know. So to trust in these riches, this is what happens when the economy crashes. That's why people jumping out windows and why they can't survive. And they feel like the world is over because all your trust is in riches. All right, go ahead and finish it up, Op.
Mark chapter 10 and verse 25. It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of Elohim. They were astonished out of measure, saying among themselves, who then can be saved? And Yahushua, looking upon them, said, with men it is impossible, but not with Elohim. For with Elohim all things are possible.
So it's possible. He's not saying you can't be wealthy. He's not saying you can't, but us not being wealthy, like Brother Cassette said, is probably some of the best thing that could happen to us. Because if you got a drug problem, the rich people overdose more than poor people because who's going to stop them from buying the drugs? They got money, and if they don't want to do, they can pay somebody. If you got a food problem, this is why these people dying of heart attacks. Who's going to stop you from eating at the best restaurants? You got a lust problem. Who's going to stop you from messing with these kids, doing all these things to the point where you're getting these weird fetishes where you're looking for children and you're just getting exposed to way too much stuff. It's not enough. The regular stuff ain't a wife ain't good enough for you. Now you got to keep going higher and higher because you got too much abundance.
You know, I heard someone recently say that the only thing separating the Epsteins and all those super rich, crazy people that's doing all this crazy stuff, the only thing separating normal people from those people is simply riches. Because we're living in a culture that promotes this idea, that it promotes this kind of fantasy of being super rich and being able to do anything you want and living this lavish lifestyle. And a lot of that is within our hearts. You know, all of us, I think, deal with that to an extent. And
Right.
all of us have probably entertained that fantasy at some point in our lives. And I thought that was a very astute thing to point out, because it really forces you to kind of look at your heart and say, okay, well, what kind of ideas and desires are actually in my heart, and how do I uproot these things and start to focus and replace them with the things of Yah and the things that He desires for me, that He desires for my life.
Right.
As a servant.
Right. Absolutely. And somebody who is not a servant can, you know, could have that understanding where, you know, if I had money, I would be doing this or be doing that. But, you know, once you are working for the Most High, a lot of things is not about money. It don't cost me money to not eat pork, or, you know what I'm saying? It don't cost me money to keep the Sabbath day or to, you know, to not lie or steal, or it doesn't cost me money. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we still, whether we poor or rich, have to go against temptation to do certain things. So if you don't have that moral compass, or you don't have the fear of Yah, and you have money, now you don't have anything to stop you. But he said, you know, with Yah, all things are possible. So it is possible for you to be blessed on that level where you're have a lot of abundance of money. You're still able to help people. You're still able to retain your salvation and still able to stay away from a lot of wickedness. It's possible with Elohim, but to think you're going to do that on your own because you a good guy, nah. Like you said, it's just money keeping most of us away from doing a lot of that wickedness. We're at verse 28.
Yep, verse 28. Then Peter began to say unto him, Lo, we have left all and have followed you. And Yahushua answered and said, Verily I say unto you, there's no man that has left house or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my sake and the good news, but he shall receive 100-fold now in this time, houses and brethren and sisters and mothers and children and lands with persecutions, and in the world to come, eternal life. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first.
So the Most High is not saying you're going to be poor forever. He said you're going to get 100-fold if you leaving this worthless stuff that's going to waste away to prioritize him. The workman is due his hire. All right, let's go to Matthew chapter 6. And then we have one more for the conclusion. Matthew chapter 6. We're going to read 19 through 34. So it's very difficult for somebody who's trusting in money rather than trusting in Yah to obtain the mind frame of Elohim in your head. The kingdom of Elohim is in you. You can't have the kingdom in you if you trusting in riches.
Matthew chapter 6 and verse 19. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust does corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust does corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal.
All right. So when it's talking about laying up, saving, right? So does it mean you can't have things that are treasured? You can't have a piece of gold or, jewelry or something? That's not what that's saying. When you lay up something, that means I'm keeping it. I'm doing what I got to do to preserve this thing. If you have something nice, and guess what? An emergency comes and you have to do righteousness, then forget the treasure. Let it go. Who cares? I can't, maybe in the season before it didn't cause me not to be able to do what I needed to do for the Most High. But right now it's a barrier. I got to get rid of it. But when you are storing your treasures in heaven, you will get rid of anything in order to keep that valuable state in heaven, to keep that heaven sent. You'll do anything to do that. You're prioritizing that. So that's how you know whether you can keep the treasure or not. If you can keep the treasure and it's not stopping you from doing the good will of the Most High, then it's okay. But unfortunately, the way this system works, it's gonna force you to make a decision. You don't have to worry about, do I need them? Should I? You're gonna get presented with a choice. I can keep the Lamborghini, or maybe I can auction a Lamborghini and help them build this homeless shelter right here, because these homeless people keep popping up here. You're gonna be forced to make a decision. Tamshi?
Verse 21. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
So where's your mind? Is your mind on heavenly things or on earthly things? Bills and material and people and things that are in this earth, the creature? Or is your mind on the Creator? What did he create me to do?
Verse 22. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye be single, your whole body shall be full of light. But if your eye be evil, your whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you be darkness, how great is that darkness? No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve Yahweh and Mammon.
You can't serve. He didn't say you cannot have Elohim and Mammon. He said you can't serve. Trust me, the adversary is going to force you into choosing wickedness or holding on to righteousness. He's going to force you to make the decision. He might force you before you're ready. But ultimately, you can't serve two masters. And it said that Esau despised his inheritance. He hated it. It's considered despising something when you don't give it the proper value that it's supposed to have. Your inheritance? What do you have more valuable than that? He gave it up for some red peas. Verse 25.
Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what you shall eat or what you shall drink, nor yet for your body, what you shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body more than raiment?
Did he not tell us he was going to feed us and we was going to eat? So you think that when you work for every other employer and they taking you on a trip, you don't think they're going to feed you? They ain't going to bring lunch to the meeting? Verse 26.
Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much better than they?
They trust Yah. They do Yah's will. They do the works of Yah. The woodpecker, he supposed to peck wood. That's what he do. He peck wood. He ain't worried about it. He gonna eat. We, who's supposed to be better than them, so intelligent that we don't believe what Yah said.
Verse 27. Which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit unto a stature? And why take you thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon, Shlomo, in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Wherefore, if Yahweh so clothe the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or wherewithal shall we be clothed? For after all these things do the Gentiles seek, for your heavenly Father knows that you have need of all these things.
So they worry because they praying to a cloud in the air. They praying to a sun that come up and down every day. They looking up at a star praying, hoping that this thing gonna feed them or protect them. Or if they see some kind of constellation, they scared. They don't know any better, but you know the Most High, and you know his promise to us and to you that if you are a good worker and you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to be blessed in abundance. Not in just things that sound nice, but no, actual physical things, spiritual things, all of the above. He's going to confirm it to you right here.
Verse 33. But seek you first the kingdom of Elohim and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
He said, seek you this first. He didn't say you couldn't handle your business. You can't go out there and make sure you got clothes, make sure your kids got clothes, make sure you got food, make sure you got something to drink. He didn't say that. He didn't say, don't seek these things at all. Only the kingdom. No, he said, seek you first the kingdom of Elohim. The kingdom of Elohim is his commandments, his righteousness, justice, order. That's in your head. That's how you're supposed to operate. You put that, you seek that first, and everything else is going to be added unto you because you're looking at things the proper way.
Verse 34. Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof.
Worry about the things that you need to handle today. Don't be thinking that you got till 2 weeks to go do this, a year to do that. Did you get done today what you needed to get done for the Most High? You don't know if you got tomorrow. Let's go to the conclusion. Let's go to Yeshaya, Isaiah chapter 60. Again, all these things are going to be added unto you. And not only did the Most High said he was going to feed us, he said he was going to bless us abundantly. So this is not a poverty mind frame class. We're not teaching it that you should be ashamed of having blessings or anything like that. You should be ashamed if you put that before the Most High. You should be ashamed if you amassed all these things prior to trying to amass good works for the poor, the widows, and the fatherless. You should be ashamed then. It's impossible to be a billionaire. How's it impossible? Because if you're a billionaire, you could be able to feed all these poor and homeless people and maybe be a millionaire. But now that ain't good enough for you. You want to be a billionaire. Yeshaya chapter 60, and we're going to read 1 through 14 for the conclusion.
Still out here, brother. I have a question. Now, you got kids, right? Has there ever been a case that, say you buy something for your kids, and then one of your kids comes to you and they're worried that they're not going to get enough, or that their brothers or sisters are going to eat it up from them or something like that? You ever had a case like that?
Oh, yeah. It's usually, well, I got girls, so it's usually, some cake, some dessert, ice cream, something like that. But go ahead.
Right. Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one, because I had the same thing with my kids. There's only 2 of them, but they're always worried, like, oh, I'm not, if I buy them something, like, oh, I'm not going to get enough, or so-and-so is going to eat it up from me. And I'm like, and I'm thinking as myself, I'm like, I bought this for y'all. You know,
right?
Exactly. Y'all shouldn't be arguing over it in the first place. But I'm like, it's nothing for me to just get some more. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But I would prefer that you guys share and make sure that, you guys are looking out for each other in that way. And it just kind of struck me as that kind of mindset is very, like, it's a childish mindset. But even when you look at things spiritually, it's very spiritually immature too, because it's like, when it comes to our relationship with Yah, a lot of us have that mindset that we're not going to be provided for. And you see that in the world with people who don't know Yah. When you look at all these nations hoarding resource, and you look at resources and capitalism and all this stuff going on in the world, it's like there's more than enough, to go around. Like, Yah provided more than enough for all of us, and yet, because they don't have a relationship with Yah, they don't know Yah, they're in this kind of spiritually immature mindset of, I got to hoard everything for myself. We got to make sure these people don't get more resources, because now we're going to be, you know what I'm saying? And it's a never ending state of just covetousness and fear and all types of other stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to mention how spiritually immature I thought that was.
Right.
And how prevalent that is in the world.
Absolutely.
And amongst believers as well.
Absolutely. You said it right. You see it in your kids. They kids. They got to be taught. You an adult and you still don't understand your creator. A kid might not understand. You an adult. You shouldn't have no excuse. So we're at Yeshaya chapter 60. We're going to read 1 through 14 for the conclusion.
All right. Yeshaya chapter 60 and verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light is come, and the glory of Yahweh is risen upon you. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Yahweh shall rise upon you, and his glory shall be seen upon you. So
most of, the worldly people can't see the light. They're blind. So it got to become pitch black, gross darkness, for them to finally see the light. Finally, it got to be, their light is so dim. You got to understand, when your light is dim, it got to be so dark for you to see that light, because it's so dim. If you got any little bit of light in coming in the area, like moonlight, stars, whatever, it's going to drown that light out. So y'all got to make the earth gross dark for people to see light and finally realize, I'm in the dark. Verse 3.
And the Gentiles shall come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising.
Why they not coming now? It ain't dark enough. Once it get dark enough, remember how many people's flocking when the last little experiment they did in 2020? When they shut the whole world down, everybody was flocking then. Everybody was spiritual then. Go ahead.
Lift up your eyes round about and see. All they gather themselves together, they come to you. Your sons shall come from afar, and your daughters shall be nursed at your side. Then you shall see and flow together, and your heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto you. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto you. The multitude of camels shall cover you. The dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of Yahweh. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto you. The rams of Nebaioth shall minister unto you. They shall come up with acceptance on my altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Surely the owls shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first. Bring your sons from afar, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of Yahweh, Yar-Elohim, and to the Holy One of Yasharal, because he has glorified you.
Hallelujah. Who are these that fly as a cloud? A cloud represents witnesses, right? And fly is talking about the wings, the kanaf, right? The wings of a bird. So we are the witnesses of Yah's commandments that are coming back to our habitations. And it says that the ships of Tarshish, Tarshish is Spain, these same big trading barges, them same huge ships that's bringing all these goods, is going to bring the precious cargo back home. But we're not coming home broke. What king is going to have his wife or his children or his family looking like paupers, looking poor, looking like homeless people? What king is going to do that? A regular man, is even a poor person, is going to try to dress up his people. So if we are the kings and queens of the earth and our Father is the king of the universe, you think he wants us being poor? He just doesn't want us selling out to this system. This system is telling you what rich is. And look at the condition of the so-called rich. Half of them are in this Epstein file. The other half, they're in the file with the doctors. Sick. And who knows the other stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And then, of course, you have a remnant of people that are wealthy, that are using their wealth to do the will of the Most High. That's what we're supposed to do. But we can't get wealth if we won't serve the Most High, because we're just going to take the wealth and serve the adversary and further push ourselves further in life. You saw Mashiach had love for that rich man. You don't hate the rich. You shouldn't hate the rich either. They're in a worse situation than you spiritually, because every day their salvation is on the line if they miss the mark. They had the opportunity to save lives. If you know to do good and you don't, that is sin unto you. You have all this opportunity to do good, but they struggle with the same things we struggle with. So he's not sending us back home poor. This is not a poverty class. This is a priority class. Don't let nobody tell you their gold, their silver, their popularity, their money, any of that is nothing on this earth. No man, no woman, no husband, no wife, no job is worth more than heaven's sent. You can't have two of whatever you think it is and it's going to buy your way in. 1 penny is all it takes. Verse 10.
And the sons of strangers shall build up your walls, and their kings shall minister unto you. For in my wrath I smote you, but in my favor have I had mercy on you.
So we're waiting for his favor. And he said in verse 9, and to the Holy One of Yasharal, because he has glorified us. Yah ain't glorified us yet. He ain't showed everybody his wife. They ain't really seen us until he unlocked the real Yasharal in us. We still got a little bit of that spirit that in Deuteronomy 28, we still trying to get rid of that. But when he glorify us, sons and strangers are going to minister unto us. Tom Shee?
Verse 11, therefore your gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto you the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve you shall perish, yet those nations shall be utterly wasted. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto you, the fir tree, the pine tree, the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. The sons also of them that afflicted you shall come bending unto you, and all they that despise you shall bow themselves down at the soles of your feet, and they shall call you the city of Yahweh, the Zion of the Holy One of Yasharal.
This is the payment to the servant. This is all the people, the employees of the Most High. This is what is due to you. But do you think you're going to inherit this and you was a horrible employee? You are defamating the character of Yah's business. You sold your heaven sent for some dollar bills, some money, some pieces of paper with some dead white men on it. Tom Shee? Oh, we read that. We read all the way to verse 14. Praise Yah. So
okay.
That's all we wanted to do today. Praise Yah. So let us consider the matter. We have these two economies going on here. You got the earthly economy where it takes money. It takes resources. Yah is not telling you to be some avatar that's going to float in the air and you just, everything comes to you. No, you're going to have this because of the curse. For the sweat of our brow, we're going to have to work and struggle for that food. But you work for Yah and you're working for the payment of a penny. You're working for that heaven sent. You're not working for this system. You're surviving in this system. So you prioritize Yah and all these things will be added unto you. But you got to understand, what did you accept? You accepted a position. Who do you belong to? Who are you working for? You got to know who you work for. You got to understand that you Yah's servant and the terms of employment. What are the terms of your employment? What is your payment? What's your schedule? How many hours I got to work? What days am I off? Your Sabbath days, your Sabbathon, your rest days. What payments are you taking for me? Are you taking insurance for me? Do I got to pay for parking? Do I got to pay? What do I got to pay for this uniform? What kind of investment does it cost? And Yah requires your first fruit, the best of what you have. And he requires 1/10 of what you make, 1/10 of your time, 1/10 of what you can produce, 1/10 of your money, 1/10 of everything you have. And that goes to the poor, the Levite, the widows, and the strangers. And it has to be easily accessible, like the corners of your field. You're not supposed to harvest that. So the poor can easily get it without having to humble themselves and embarrass themselves. So you shouldn't make it so hard to help the poor people. You should have money available. You should see a homeless person and be ready to give. And the perfect offering that we offer in working for Yah is everything that we have. That's all he's going to take. That's why he said, hardly shall this rich enter into the kingdom. So that's all we're going to do today. We are Israelites Gathered. If you would like to tithe through this ministry, you can tithe on our Cash App. It's $SWORD ATL. If you have questions or comments, you can reach us on our website at IsraeliteGathering.com or on our application on our cell phone app, mobile app for Apple and Android. It's also entitled Israelites Gathering. We also have the new Holy Days calendar up on the website. The app is currently in publishing, so it'll be up shortly with the changes. We also have our prayer line. We'll have that up for the next 30 minutes immediately following the class. The phone number is 267-807-9495. And when you call, you're going to enter this code 377-643-904. So we'll keep it open for prayer. And let me tell you, every now and then we get prayer updates. We had a sister, has been with us for years. She was going through some things. And, she asked for prayer. And just like everybody, when we're in need, we ask for prayer. And we pray, we pray for people. And we don't know whose prayer got in, but all we know is prayer works. So if you're having issues, if you're going through things, you need help, you need support. Obviously, we try to help you in the physical sense as well. But in the spiritual sense, we all need prayer. We need to pray for one another. So that prayer line will be open. So if you know anybody in need or you're in need, definitely visit that prayer line. So that's all we're going to do today. Brother Cassette, anything you want to say before we close out?
Hey, I do want to say that the beauty of Yah's spiritual economy is that it doesn't have anything to do with money, and you can access his economy no matter how much or how little money you have. And you can look at Joseph's story, for example, and he was able to access Yah from basically slavery to bondage to being in prison,
right,
all the way up to actually gaining riches. You know what I'm saying? And even then, he still was sold out to Yah and serving Yah. And so the beauty of it is that you can access it, whereas in the world, you can't have certain things. You can't have the world kind of teaches you, you can't have joy or you can't have peace until you have this or you have that or you have whatever they're trying to make you pay for. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you can access all those things through Yah at any time if you're willing to pay his price, which is that doesn't have anything to do with money. It just has to do with how much of your heart and your mind are you willing to give up for him.
Right. Praise Yah. Absolutely, absolutely. He requires all. And what does all mean? That means everything you do and all that's in your life, it is through the eye that Yah gave you, that single eye of light. That's all. Now, if there's a time like this thing got nothing to do with Yah. This is purely about money, and I'm gonna do it. But then guess what? Then it don't all belong to him. Then you can put things aside because it's about money. No, it should never be about money over righteousness. It's no such thing. It doesn't exist. So praise Yah. That's all we're going to do today. Yah's will. We will see you next Shabbat. Until then, everybody have a safe Shabbat. And Yah's will. We'll see you next week. Shabbat Shalom, y'all. Shabbat Shalom, Brother Cassette.
Shabbat Shalom.
Day or night, Verbo Care is here.
All right. So everybody, thank you so much for being here. I always love this time together and learning and listening and just taking it all in. So I might be back with another live a little later, but thank you so much for being here. And thank you for your prayers and all of the donations you gave. And I pray that you all stay on this walk with the Most High. We must endure until the end. That is mandatory, especially for all of us that have already put in a lot of time. So may the Most High keep you safe in these turbulent times around these Gentiles, and may he send his angels out to keep us from any harm from Gentiles in all four corners of the earth. And I will see you all next week. Shabbat Shalom, family.